When we talk about manifestation, we often hear people say, "I'm trying so hard, but it's just not working." Why? If you've found yourself stuck in this place, let's explore why your manifestation might not be coming to fruition and how you can shift things to start seeing real change in your life. The first thing we need to understand is that manifestation is not just about wishing or hoping for something to happen. It's about transforming yourself at a fundamental level. What I'm talking about is a change in your state of being. If you want to manifest something into your life, you need to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that desired outcome. Many people believe that thinking positively and visualizing their goals is enough. They may sit down, imagine their dream life, and feel good about it, but they don't see results. Why is that? It's because there's a crucial element missing: consistency. It's not just about having a few moments of positivity, it's about embodying that state of being throughout your entire life. Let's break this down. Your brain is a record of the past. It's constantly referencing old memories and experiences to predict the future. When you're trying to manifest something, you need to shift from this habitual way of thinking. If you're stuck in the past, living through your old patterns and emotions, you can't expect to create a new reality. Your brain and body are still anchored in past experiences, and this keeps you locked in a cycle that's hard to break. Here's where the real work comes in. To change your life, you need to change your state of being. This means changing how you think, feel, and act. If you want to manifest something new, you have to start by changing your internal environment. Your thoughts need to align with your desires, and you need to maintain that alignment consistently. This is not something that can be achieved through occasional effort. It requires persistent and dedicated practice. A key factor here is emotional energy. Your emotions are a powerful force in the manifestation process. If you want to create a new reality, you need to cultivate the emotions that align with that reality. For example, if you're trying to manifest financial abundance, you need to feel abundant already. You need to embody the emotions of success and prosperity in your daily life. If you're still feeling lack and scarcity, you're creating a vibration that's not aligned with your desired outcome. Your body is a reflection of your mind. If your mind is stuck in old patterns, your body will be too. This is why it's important to recondition your body to align with your new state of being. If you keep feeding your body the same old emotions and thoughts, you're reinforcing the old patterns. To truly manifest a new reality, you need to break free from these old patterns and recondition your body to align with your new way of thinking and feeling. Consistency is very important when you're working on changing your state of being. If you want to make lasting changes in your life, you need to stay committed and practice regularly. It's not just about making changes when it's easy or convenient. Instead, it's about practicing new thoughts and emotions every single day until they become your new normal. When you decide to change your state of being, you're deciding to create a new way of thinking and feeling. This process requires daily effort and dedication. Imagine you're learning a new skill, like playing an instrument or speaking a new language. At first, it's challenging, and you might not see much progress. But if you practice consistently, day after day, you start to get better, and it eventually becomes second nature. The same principle applies to changing your state of being. Practicing new thoughts and emotions daily means you have to make it a regular part of your routine. It's not enough to think positively or feel good only when you're in a great mood. You need to make a habit of it. Start by setting aside time each day to focus on your new state of being. This could be through meditation, visualization, or other practices that help you align with your goals. Meditation is a very powerful tool for changing your state of being. When you meditate, you create a quiet space in your mind where you can calm your thoughts and focus better. This peaceful state helps you connect with the new version of yourself that you want to become. When you meditate, you start by sitting comfortably in a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. You close your eyes and take deep breaths to relax your body and mind. As you continue to breathe deeply, you allow your mind to become still and clear. This process helps to reduce stress and create a sense of calm. During meditation, you have the opportunity to visualize or imagine yourself living the life you want. Visualization is a technique where you picture yourself achieving your goals and experiencing the changes you wish to see. For example, if you want to be more confident, you might visualize yourself speaking confidently in front of a crowd or handling challenging situations with ease. As you imagine these scenarios, try to feel the emotions you would experience if they were happening in real life. Feel the joy, excitement, or satisfaction of achieving your goals. This emotional connection makes the visualization more powerful and real. By regularly practicing this kind of visualization during meditation, you're training your brain to align with your desired state of being. Meditation also helps reinforce new patterns in your brain. When you meditate and visualize positive changes, you are creating new neural pathways. These are like new routes that your brain uses to think and feel in different ways. Just like when you practice a skill repeatedly, the more you meditate and visualize, the stronger these new pathways become. Over time, as you consistently meditate and visualize, your brain starts to adopt these new patterns. This means your thoughts and emotions begin to align more with the life you want to create. The more you practice, the more natural these new patterns will feel. Your brain starts to wire itself to support your new goals and desires. Visualization is another effective technique. When you visualize, you imagine yourself achieving your goals and living your desired reality. This helps your brain start to create new neurological patterns that align with your desires. By regularly visualizing your goals, you're training your mind to focus on the positive changes you want to make. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. It controls most of your behaviors and reactions. So if you want to manifest change, you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. This involves consistently practicing new thoughts and emotions until they become second nature. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. Now let's talk about the importance of making a decision. Change starts with a decision. If you're not fully committed to your manifestation, you'll struggle to see results. This means you need to make a firm decision about what you want and fully commit to that decision. When you decide to make a change, your brain and body will start to align with that decision, creating new patterns and behaviors that support your manifestation. The challenge here is that most people don't fully commit. They might start with good intentions, but they don't stick with it long enough to see results. This is why it's important to be persistent. You need to make your new way of being your new normal, and this requires consistent effort. Another important aspect to consider when working on your manifestations is your environment. Your environment can have a big impact on whether you achieve your goals or not. It can either help you or make it harder for you to stay on track with your desires. Think of your environment as a big support system or a challenge. If you are surrounded by negative influences or people who don't believe in your goals, it can be very difficult to stay focused and motivated. Negative energy can pull you down and make it hard to stay positive and driven. That's why it's important to pay attention to your surroundings and make changes if needed. Start by looking at the people around you. Are they supportive of your goals? Do they encourage you to follow your dreams and believe in your success? If you have friends, family, or colleagues who are always putting you down or doubting you, it can be really hard to stay motivated. It's important to surround yourself with people who lift you up and make you feel good about pursuing your goals. These positive people can offer encouragement, advice, and help you stay on track. If you find that some people in your life are not supportive, you might need to make some changes. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely, but it might mean spending less time with those who bring negativity. Instead, seek out new connections with people who share your vision and can support you on your journey. You can find these people in communities or groups that focus on similar goals or interests. Your environment also includes the physical space around you. The place where you live and work can either boost your energy or drain it. For example, a cluttered and disorganized space can create stress and make it harder to concentrate. On the other hand, a clean and organized space can help you feel more focused and motivated. Take a look at your living and working spaces. Are they supportive of your goals? Do they inspire you? If not, consider making some changes. This could mean organizing your workspace, adding items that make you feel good, or creating a space that's dedicated to your goals and dreams. Even small changes can make a big difference in how you feel and how effectively you work towards your goals. The key here is to become conscious of your environment and make adjustments as needed. This might mean setting boundaries with certain people or changing your surroundings to create a more supportive atmosphere for your manifestation efforts. It's also important to understand that your past experiences and beliefs can hold you back. If you have deep-seated beliefs about yourself or your abilities that are negative, these beliefs will influence your manifestation efforts. This is why it's important to work on overcoming these limiting beliefs. You need to challenge and reframe any negative beliefs that are holding you back. This involves becoming aware of these beliefs and actively working to change them. When you're aware of your limiting beliefs, you can start to shift them. This might involve using affirmations, visualization, or other techniques to change your beliefs about yourself and your abilities. The goal is to replace old, limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones that support your manifestation efforts. Understanding manifestation is key to making it work for you. One crucial aspect to grasp is that manifestation is not about getting instant results. It's about creating lasting change in your life. This process takes time and effort, and it's important to be patient and persistent. When you start working on manifesting your goals, you might expect quick results. However, the truth is that real change doesn't happen overnight. Just like planting a seed and waiting for it to grow, manifestation requires nurturing and time. If you don't see immediate results, don't get discouraged. This is a normal part of the process. Think of manifestation as a journey rather than a destination. You are working to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with what you want to achieve. This alignment is not just a one-time effort. It requires ongoing work and consistency. Your thoughts need to be focused on your goals. Your emotions need to reflect the feelings of having already achieved those goals. And your actions need to support the reality you are creating. For example, if you want to manifest a new job, you need to keep your thoughts positive and focused on the success you desire. Feel excited and confident about the opportunity, even if you don't have it yet. Take actions that align with your goal, like updating your resume and applying for positions. All these steps help to align your entire being with the outcome you want. Being persistent means continuing to work towards your goals, even when things seem slow or difficult. There will be times when you might feel frustrated or doubtful. It's natural to have these feelings, but what's important is to not let them stop you. Keep going, keep believing, and keep working on your alignment. Each step you take is a step closer to your goal. Patience is also a crucial part of this process. Just like you wouldn't expect a plant to grow overnight, you shouldn't expect your manifestations to appear instantly. There are often unseen changes happening behind the scenes. Your effort, you're going to make your brain worse. This research on memory says that 50% of what you talk about in the past isn't even the truth, that you don't have the same brain then. So you make stuff up, which means now you're reliving a past that you didn't even have just to embellish it, to produce the emotions, to reaffirm your limited state. Well, the best way to predict your future is to create it, not from the known, but from the unknown. And that void, that unknown, is the perfect place to create from. Now, why is this dangerous? Because when you're living in survival 70% of the time, there's better chances in survival from running from the unknown than embracing the unknown, right? If there's a predator out there, you hear something around the corner and you can't see it, that's an unknown. You're gonna run. You're not gonna go, and it's not a time to trust. It's not a time to open your heart. It's not a time to communicate, here, kitty, kitty. It's not a time to do that. It's a time to run. You'll never trust the unknown in that state. So if people are living by these emotional states of survival, they're never going to want to step out into the unknown because they can't predict the future. So they'd rather hold on to what they have. Turns out that those emotions of stress are highly addictive. They give us a rush of adrenaline, rush of energy. And so people use the problems and conditions in their lives to reaffirm their addiction to that emotion so they can remember who they are as a somebody. So then if your thoughts can turn on the stress response and the stress chemicals are addictive, then we become addicted to our own thoughts. So then stepping out into that unknown is where true greatness happens, because that's where the person begins to say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? What behaviors will I want to demonstrate in my new life? Can I rehearse them in my mind? And the mere process of mental rehearsal, this is neuroscience now, begins to install the circuits in your brain to look like the experience has already occurred. You're priming your brain into the map of the future instead of the record of the past. And then the true person who's in the process of transformation will say, can I teach my body emotionally what that future is going to be like? Can I begin to embrace the joy of my new life? And their body, as their unconscious mind, begins to believe it's in the future instead of in the past. Now, that process is not an overnight process. We don't jump from the old self to the new self. It requires that continuous process of changing our biology. But I can tell you, in observing people who have healed themselves of very serious health conditions, who've healed themselves of some pretty difficult scars from the past, who've overcome addictions, who've created new opportunities and new jobs and new relationships and a new life, had to cross that river. And that is when they're literally, from a biological standpoint, a new personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today has created the present personal reality called their life, which means then if you want to create a new personal reality, you got to change your personality. And that means you got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. Look at your unconscious habits and behaviors, what you say, what you do, and become conscious of it and change them. And look at the emotions that have kept you anchored to the past and decide if those emotions belong in your future. I think the biggest problem is that most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. So then as we begin to demystify this, the person starts to say, oh my God, the disease that I have is because it's connected to this personality. Is it possible that if I change my personality, just like a person with a multiple personality disorder who has an allergy to nylon stockings in one personality and type 1 diabetes in another, is it possible then, if I change my personality, that the disease exists in the old personality and I'm literally someone else? Is it possible then, from a biological standpoint, that they're healed and changed? So to answer the question, it's difficult because we're breaking out of a biological mold. It's difficult because most people don't know that they have within their reach all the tools to do it, because they have, number 3, been conditioned on some level to believe that the new hairstyle or the new type of beer they're going to drink or the sports car or whatever it is going to change their state. And that's the hypnosis. And when I wrote The Placebo, You Are the Placebo, the biggest thing that I walked away with after writing that book was how hypnotized and programmed we really are. And that's bothered me ever since I wrote the book, because people watch things in their external environment and they accept, believe, and surrender to that information without any analysis, and they're programmed. Some of the research shows that, 90% of the thoughts that we think on a daily basis are the same thoughts as the day before. So if you think that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and 90% of your thoughts are the same known thoughts that you're always thinking, then your life should stay the same. Because the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. Same behaviors create the same experiences. The same experiences produce the same emotions. Those same emotions tend to influence the way we think. And our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our hormones, and even our gene expression is equal to how we think, how we act, and how we feel. And how you think, how you act, and how you feel is called your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. So then it makes sense then, if you want to create a new personal reality, a new life, you're going to have to change your personality. And you've got to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. You've got to become aware of your unconscious habits and behaviors, even how you speak. Then you have to look at the emotions that you live by every single day and decide, do these emotions belong in my future? So many people try to create a new life as the same person. In order to create a new personal reality, you've got to change your personality. So the principle in neuroscience says that nerve cells that fire together wire together. Thinking the same way, making the same choices, demonstrating the same actions, creating the same experiences that stamp the same networks of neurons into the same patterns, all for the familiar feeling called you. And you do that for 10 years in a row. You're going to hardwire your brain into a very finite signature because you're firing and wiring that way. And that box in the brain, that becomes our personality, becomes our identity. And by the time we're 35 years old, for the most part, we've done something so many times that the body now knows how to do it as well as the mind. And that's a habit. So we have these unconscious programs of behaviors, automatic habits, redundant emotional reactions, hardwired beliefs, perceptions, attitudes that function just like a computer program. You press go and it runs automatically. So then when it comes time to change, thinking positively is going to do nothing because your body has been conditioned for the most part into a program in the past. So the thought never makes it to the body because the body's on a different program. So how do we begin to influence the body so that the thought actually produces some type of change? So think about it. If you think an unhappy thought, you're going to feel unhappy. If you think you're a failure, you're going to feel like a failure. Once you feel like a failure, you're going to think you're a failure. And people get caught in these loops of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking. And that redundancy is a conditioning process because all you need is an image or a picture or a thought and a feeling, a response, stimulus response. And so the people tend to condition their brain and body into the past. And so when it comes time to change, you gotta leave that familiar territory. And any choice that you make, if you said, hey, I'm gonna eat a better diet, I'm gonna wake up early and work out, I'm gonna do meditation, the moment you decide to do something differently, get ready because it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel unfamiliar. There's gonna be some uncertainty. You're not gonna be able to predict the next moment. That means you've left your known biology and you're stepping into the unknown. Now, theoretically, that sounds great, but if the body has been conditioned into a familiar feeling, it's in the known. The moment you take it outside the familiarity, it wants to go back to where it's comfortable. So the body starts influencing the mind, and this is where people say, I want you to start your diet tomorrow. Oh, why don't you start working out this evening? You're really never going to change. You're too tired, you have a headache, this doesn't feel right. And this is where people talk themselves out of it. Because if they respond to that thought leads to the same choice, which leads to the same behavior, creates the same experience, produces the same feeling, and then they say, this feels right. No, that feels familiar. So going from one state of mind and body to another state of mind and body, you got to cross a river. And the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. Now, once people understand that they're going to be uncomfortable, then the question is, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors will you demonstrate in one day? And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain, which is typically a record of the past, now becomes a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, the hardware begins to become a software program, and you start behaving differently. And then if you can teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like, that means then you're not going to wait for your wealth to feel abundant, or your success to feel empowered, or your new relationship to feel love. In fact, the moment you start feeling abundant, you're generating wealth. The moment you start embracing empowerment, you're stepping towards your success. The moment you're in love with yourself and you're in love with life, you start creating equals in your life. Now, your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a reflection of your external environment. It's an artifact of all the things you've learned and experienced to date. Feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences. And if you're feeling the same way every single day, it means two things. Number one, nothing new is happening in your life. And if those emotions are driving certain thoughts, and those thoughts then are creating the same emotions, then your thinking equal to your emotional state means you're thinking in the past. And if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, as long as you're thinking equal to your familiar emotions, you keep reaffirming the same past experiences in your life over and over again. Our research shows without a doubt in the last 3 years that when students of our work combine a clear intention. Now, intention is a vision, a potential that already exists in the quantum field that you get to select. And when you ask yourself a question like, what would it be like to be healthy? What would it be like to be wealthy? What would it be like to be free or to be in love? The moment you ask that creative question, a part of your brain called the frontal lobe turns on. That's the crowning achievement of the human being. Once that area of the brain turns on, it's like a great symphony leader. It looks out of the landscape of the entire brain, and it begins to randomly select different networks of neurons that are connected to the things you've learned in your life or the experiences you've had. And it begins to seamlessly paste them together to create an ideal, a vision, or an internal representation. That is a potential experience that's awaiting you, but it's not enough to just have the mind involved. Thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. Once you can begin to emotionally embrace that future reality before it's made manifest, when you combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, the freedom, the joy, the inspiration, the genuine love that you feel or gratitude from that experience, the moment you do that, your body as the unconscious mind begins to believe it's living in that future reality in the present moment. Now you're moving into a new state of being, into a new personality, and a new personality creates a new personal reality. The research that we've done shows that when we teach people how to regulate their internal states, to begin to create more coherence in their brain, and to generate elevated emotions like joy and gratitude and inspiration, that not only does the brain become coherent, but so does the heart. And when the brain is coherent, the heart is coherent. When the heart is coherent, the brain is coherent. And so why don't we live by these states on a daily basis? Primarily because the majority of the time that we live in our waking state of consciousness, 70% of the time, you and I are living by the hormones of stress. And living in stress is living in survival. And when you're living in survival, the very chemicals of survival cause you to function as materialist, defining your reality with your senses. You pay attention to objects and things and people. You begin to believe that your outer world is more real than your inner world. And the side effect of this over time begins to cause us to feel separate from possibility. Why? Because when you're threatened by some predator or some danger in your life, it's not a time to go in. It's not a time to trust the unknown. It's not a time to open your heart and feel love. It's not a time to communicate. It's not a time to create. It's not a time to learn. It's a time to survive. So then, in order for us to create, we have to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want for something greater to occur. And most importantly, we want you to understand when you're in the creative state and when you're not. And if you were to take a little time every day and apply some of the principles in changing beliefs and perceptions about yourself and your life, and what is a belief other than a thought you keep thinking over and over again. And all beliefs are based on past experiences. And in order for you to change a belief or perception about yourself and your life, you have to make a decision with such firm intention that the amplitude of that decision carries a level of energy that's greater than the hardwired programs in your brain and the emotional conditioning in your body. And your body literally has to respond to a new mind. And when the choice becomes an experience that you never forget, that's the moment the past biologically no longer exists in you. People use the word victim so much, and I don't really think we spend a lot of time really unraveling the idea. But if I said to you, Jay, how are you doing today? And you said, well, I'm really upset because of this person or this circumstance or this condition in my life, then what we're saying, this is not conscious, this is an unconscious program. What we're saying is somebody out there is actually controlling the way I'm feeling and the way that I'm thinking. So if something out there is controlling your feelings and your thoughts, you're victim to whoever, whatever that is.